Hey everybody, all the hype around the Bronco, everyone's excited about it. We got to send some questions in to the chief designer of the Ford Bronco. So let's see what he has to say and let's take a look.
Alright, I'm the chief designer for Bronco and we're here at Michigan Proving Ground. And I'm going to talk to you now about one of our customers who really had a very big influence over what we were going to do. This is a young 21-year-old nanny who lived in LA, and like any nanny, she was living in someone else's house, carrying someone else's children during the daytime. But when it came to the end of the day, like all nannies on the planet, she was off. We recognised the fact that there were some issues with her existing vehicle. First of all, when you take the doors off a other vehicle, like a Wrangler for example, the doors are really big. You've got to store them somewhere. You need a garage. Bianca lives in someone else's house. She hasn't got a garage. So we did something which is very different. First of all, we made the doors short by dropping the glass into the door. These are frameless doors, and then we went further than that. We made them easy to lift off and very light because she's kind of small. And then more than that, we actually allowed you to put them into the back of the vehicle. So then the vehicle can be stripped bare on the side and you can carry all 4 doors on board. That's a world first. We made that easier still because the electrical couplings were easy to remove from the door. And then finally we had to move the mirrors from the door and onto the body, just like here. And that's a kind of very unusual execution, but it allows the door to be very slim so that we can fit them on board. But also now, it means that when she's driving, she's always got the mirrors on the vehicle, and that makes it safer for her and it makes it safer for everyone else around her. This is very difficult to achieve technically, but it was definitely worth it.
Well, I'm lucky enough to have a first generation Bronco, and a car I love, and we actually brought it into the studio to inspire the designers, but also to help them understand the sort of ethos of Bronco and how to get the design simplicity right, and just that real sort of feeling of sort of utility and practicalism at the same time in the visual design of the vehicle. We use different processes in designing this vehicle, and it's not just the normal sort of sketch period where you do the sort of sketch of the styling of the vehicle. This was very important to get the function of the vehicle right, so we used different techniques. We actually built a full-size foam model with removable fenders, removable doors, because we knew the utility aspect, and that aspect of interchangeability was really important for the vehicle. So we used a lot of different ways of thinking about the usability of the vehicle as opposed to the styling of the vehicle.
So what makes a Bronco a Bronco? Well, Bronco is made up of millions of different stories. It's that versatility and capability, the adventure that it enables for the owner, are absolutely key to the whole Bronco story.
We focused a lot on is the fender flares being able to have a quick release. So when you're in tricky situations, you're off-roading, we wanted to make it easy for the customer to be able to remove these fenders and remove them in a way that's very, very effective.
Bringing back an icon is not an easy task, especially one that's been dormant for 25 years. So we had to be really thoughtful. We had to talk to enthusiasts, experts, potential customers to get the right insights we needed to build the right vehicle. All of the roof panels are also made out of the lightest material that we could afford, because we didn't want the roof panels to become a deterrent for open air experience. Awkward, heavy to remove roof panels to limit your ability to have open air experience.
This vehicle is truly an open source vehicle that people are going to be able to meaningfully make their own, and not just with color changes, not just with stickers. This is going to be something that truly can be made in a agile way. One area that I'll focus on here is the instrument panel. It's simple, it's wipeable, it's durable, We divide it into zones. So you see this front face that has the text zone. This is where your screen is. It's protected. This front browse comes over it. The top layer was a very functional zone, brought in device area. Hero switches up top. And it's all framed by these signature, these IP grab handles right here. Notice these bolts. These bolts are clues, right? This tells you, oh yeah, it says it's Bronco stamped into it. This tells you that it's modular. While yes, these are bolted to the frame, these can be taken off. They can be modified by the person.
As you can see here, we have an accessory rail system that plugs in to a hard, rigid attachment point down in the substructure of the instrument panel for things like GoPros, sat navs, things that we can't necessarily predict in the future that the customers are going to want to modify. So the hero switches, as Bill mentioned, up here on top, great because as you can see, I'm in the passenger seat. These are things that the driver and the co-pilot can operate in the event of emergency as well. So siliconized, wipeable, cleanable. It's essentially convertible, as you can see, so everything had to be considered, right? Some other unique points on the vehicle are the washout rubberized floor. That's something we learned from all kinds of our partners out there, that you know, these things get dirty. The top comes off, everyone's muddy. I remember getting into this thing when we were out testing in the desert, and it was a mess. But if you can just take a hose, spray it out, it's just a great solution. What we can do on the entire vehicle is to provide the provision for customers to make it what they need or what they want. So we have 6 aux switches up top here, allowing for that modularity and the customers to customize their vehicle the way that they want it or desire it.
Some of our competitors have a brace that goes above the driver's head, basically, and I think one of the things that we noticed immediately when hopping in the back of that is that it's just right in your face, and I think by deleting it you really free up a lot of that open air feel. It was kind of like, you know, easy open air, and like something that helps you connect with nature was just like one of the basics of what we were trying to do with the vehicle. We found that people are using these vehicles in a lot of different ways, you know, and I think one thing that was really evident is the more accessory points and attachment points you can offer up, the easier it's going to be for people to be able to modify the vehicle to fit their lifestyle. We just wanted to make sure that we utilize these Bronco bolts to kind of give you a point of access to be able to bring your own accessory to wherever you need it. So we've got the accessory points on the hood hooks here. We've also got on the mirror arms here. There's like, you know, for your LEDs and stuff. There's also a bunch of stuff on top of the roof rack to be able to bolt into. So we just wanted to make sure that we offered up the versatility so that you can bring your own stuff with you.
For the exterior lighting for the Bronco, first and foremost, we were inspired by some of the Bronco heritage. And I think that's immediately apparent if you compare the newest gen with the first gen Bronco. If you look at the first gen Bronco, that lighting signature, you've got a dominant circular lamp with a small rectangular chiclet of a turn signal. So graphically, we wanted to maintain a very strong circular and horizontal graphic for the lit signature of this vehicle.
You're looking at this fold-out table. What we've done is we've built in attachments into the sheet metal of this swing gate so that you have an ability to put this or many other kinds of accessories on it. And when you get a 4-door, there's this really cool feature that's a slide-out tailgate. So we got a lot of feedback from our customers and from our expert panels about being able to open it up just like this. We're out here, you know, it's a little cold, but we're out here next to a lake, and if you want to kind of sit down and hang out, there's a slide-out tailgate that's super cool because it has a nice little Easter egg on it. Just like the tailgate on the first generation Bronco, we've got the same FORD letters that are in it, so it's just like having a tailgate on your original Bronco. It's a nice little piece of history.
You push these down, and I'll push this down. You can kind of see, and I'll slide this up. This is for a removable 2.5. You can put something hard all the way through, which is nice. Now, if you see this, and I've had this in here, it acts as a good dam when the seats are up. So if you have items back here sliding forward, you don't have it hitting you in the back of the seat. This also slides up, comes forward, and we also have it so you can lock it in place as such. Now, the nice thing about this is you can say if you're camping or even if you're having a tailgate party, you can, I'll take off the hat here so you can see. Say this is a box, and you can put things up here. Maybe it's for food, a little stereo, whatever, but you also have the area down here, because I find we found a lot of times when customers are using their vehicles, you have a lot of wasted space. You're putting things here, but then you can't put anything on top of it. So we wanted a 2-level system also, which is nice. You can slide up underneath and still have usable space above it, which is nice.
We really wanted to look at people's lifestyles, how they use their vehicles in this particular space. A big part of our design process was human-centered design and thinking about how users might actually use the vehicle to camp, fish, hike, mountain bike, mountain climb, really enabling them to have an activity and enjoy that activity, and also relax from it when they're done with that activity. So we did a lot of initial work to do mock-ups, deep research into our customer use cases. We had designers around the globe mocking things up inside their vehicles. For example, one of our designers in Australia, Sasha, actually cardboard mocked up his whole escape interior, put a GoPro on his head, drove around, used his coffee holder, his phone holder, put things in the back of the vehicle like his mountain bike, get ready for activities. And those are the kind of things we did as a process in the design team to understand what the interior needed to be for this lifestyle. So with the Bronco Sport interior, it's all about creating this juxtaposition of soft forms that are comfort focused for daily driving, but also having these really nice inset mechanical elements where all the technology and features go to help you enable your activity. So the whole pod of the instrument panel is about protecting the nav screen. It harkens back to the original Bronco, having the cutout and plan view around the gauge cluster, and the pod is like the original 66 Bronco. All the information for navigation and geocaching and breadcrumbing is in the nav system right in front and center. There's a small port underneath that for your phone to store it. All that insight was driven through research and through actually design thinking.
We did a lot of reference where we looked at some of the early Broncos, and we wanted to make sure that we kept that same feel when we did the badging. So instead of Ford, we've got Bronco on these, which leads into the iconic history of this vehicle. And we've done these in kind of bold letters, so they've got kind of a tough feel, but it's a little more modern than the original ones. So it goes more with the character of the vehicle.
We wanted to draw a course upon the heritage that we had from the 60s and beyond, but we wanted to do it in a more modern kind of surfaced, sculpted way. We got a pose where the back legs are all the way brought back just before he launches into a kick. We had many discussions on how to make the hair a little more disheveled than, say, the Mustang pony, and made the head look a little more angrier, a little more strenuous with the open mouth. But all in all, again, keeping with the heritage of the vehicle badging.
It just reinforces the fact that the Bronco is not just a vehicle; it's a companion that you'll be able to take off-road, you can take out in the wilderness, and have some fun with.
Just like to thank Ford and thank the Chief Designer, Paul Wraith, for answering our questions about the Ford Bronco. Stay tuned, December 7th, first drive. We went off-road and on-road. We'll have the footage for you on December 7th. Have a great day.